Yo, what's going on with you, babe? Is here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be taking a look at an utter hand cannon god roll that literally changes what is possible for this gun type. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, it's Wednesday, and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, myself, True Vanguard, and MTash host the Real Gamer Hour podcast. It is a ton of fun where we talk about the craziest things to happen in gaming over the last week. Definitely check it out by clicking the link in the description down below. So, let's start talking about this weapon. Now, I tweeted about it when I got it, but finally, the Deep Stone Crypt Raid, which is where this weapon is coming from, has been, or at least started to be, generous with me. It's finally giving me those utter god rolls. So the weapon we're focusing on today is the Posterity Hand Cannon, and the roll I'm talking about is the combination of, firstly, extended mag. Now, really interestingly, you can see I also got appended mag with it, but extended offers one additional round in the magazine. So that is like the utter best perk here. Then we're combining that with the always fantastic Reconstruction. This is a perk unique to Deep Stone Crypt Raid weapons, and what it says is this weapon slowly reloads itself over time up to double capacity. And we can see that in action right here. We start with 17 rounds, and after a little bit, we're up to 35 rounds in the magazine for a hand cannon. But we're not done yet. If we put on the backup mag mod, we go all the way up to 39, nearly 40 rounds for a hand cannon. Guys, that's insane. I mean, most auto rifles don't get 40 rounds in the magazine. This hand cannon is capable of getting that. And again, it kind of changes what is possible. You're so used to running around with 12 rounds in your magazine for hand cannon. Getting to 40 just completely redefines what this weapon can do in a mainly PvE environment. But of course, having this large of a magazine size is very cool, and obviously it's a benefit, but you kind of need something to do with it. Like, you have a massive magazine size, obviously that means you don't need to reload as often and you can keep up your overall damage output, but again, still, it's nice, but you need a payoff. Well, this roll has that too, because it ends with Rampage. Kills with this weapon temporarily grant increased damage, stacks up to 3 times. And those 3 things together, extended mag to get the biggest possible magazine size, Reconstruction, which puts it to the moon, but also gives you the benefit of constantly reloading your magazine so you don't have to reload, as well as reloading it when it's stowed away, and then finally combined with Rampage for that damage increase with that magazine size means that this hand cannon is an ad clearing monster in PvE, and this roll, this utter god roll, is a PvE utter god roll for sure. And I've been using this thing pretty much non-stop since I got it, and I've absolutely been loving it. It is so good in a PvE environment because, well, firstly, it really benefits from the archetype of the Posterity, right? The Posterity is a 180 archetype hand cannon, and very recently, in fact, just with this season, Beyond Light, this archetype was pretty significantly buffed. Firstly, the overall magazine size was increased, and like that is how we're reaching this insane number of nearly 40 rounds with backup mag, right? If this came out just last season, it would be nowhere near that number. I mean, instead of reaching 17, it would probably only be able to reach an original magazine size with extended of, 12, 11 maybe. Like, this archetype was severely lacking in terms of magazine size. So it's really benefiting from being on this archetype. If this was a different archetype, like a 140 or a 120, it wouldn't be able to reach anywhere near 40 rounds. But something else that a lot of people have forgotten about is that with that same magazine size buff, the 180s also got the same range buff as the 140s. And that's why the 140s are performing really well within PvP right now. The Ace of Spades, the new Thorn, once it became a 140, it's seeing a ton of play. All of that stuff is because you got a pretty substantial range increase. But again, the 180s were thrown into that same thing. And yes, they are definitely seeing play in PvP. The Posterity specifically with a more PvP focused role like Killing Wind, Rampage, or something like that, those are seeing play in PvP. But again, that range increase actually does matter because it means even in a PvE environment, you're able to reach out and kill enemies from medium to almost medium long ranges. And especially when you start getting that damage increase from Rampage, you can really reach out and gun down enemies with a couple of shots from a hand cannon from what seems like across the map. And Rampage is really like the piece de resistance of this role because it functions so well on a 180. Like, you really just have all of these puzzle pieces coming together to create this absolutely magnificent role, because 180s on their own in PvE, to be honest, aren't the best because they struggle at getting one-hit kills against red bar enemies. And obviously the difference between just being able to one-shot, an Acolyte, for example, and then having to two-shot them, that's a pretty big difference. However, as soon as you start to get a couple of stacks of Rampage, you will be able to, with that damage increase, start one-tapping those Acolyte-type red bar enemies. And that just changes everything. Now, once you're one-tapping, which you're also going to be doing with a 120, with a 140, etc., you're doing that, but with an archetype that has, well, firstly, an insane magazine size, and that's made even more insane by Reconstruction, has insane stability, so it's so easy to keep on target, and fires the fastest. You're able to mow down enemies with Rampage once you start one-tapping way faster than if you were using a 140 or a 120. So with this utter god roll, you're capable of killing like 25, 30 adds before you need to reload. It takes a few rounds to kill the first few. Once you get Rampage times 3, it's one shot per red bar. And that's just unprecedented when compared to really any other what other primary is capable of doing that? An auto rifle kills, 4 guys, 5 guys, 6 guys at the best with damage increasing perks before it needs to reload. Other hand cannons, yeah, they can start one-shotting, but again, they're really suffering by their maximum magazine sizes, which are so much lower. The only difference is maybe if you have that overflow perk where picking up a special ammo brick doubles your magazine size, that's a very good perk for sure, but it's inconsistent. If you don't have that brick to pick up at the time you need it, you're not going to get that bonus. Like, seriously, when we're talking about ad killing potential, the closest thing that comes to my mind is the machine gun from the same raid. I actually did a video on that because it has the same utter god roll of extended mag, reconstruction, plus rampage. And that is just unbelievable for ad clearing. The Posterity, although obviously it's not as good, it almost feels like a primary version of that, where you just have this enormous magazine size, you have this increase in damage potential, and any ads the game throws at you when they have a swarm of thralls charging at you, you just don't care. That's where these weapons are meant to be. So this is absolutely a role and a weapon you should try to go after. This is definitely becoming part of my arsenal going forward. The only downside is that you can't trigger Warmind cells with it. However, if you're running a charge with light build, remember there's actually a mod where rapid kills with hand cannons get you charged with light. And God knows that is easy to accomplish with this Posterity roll. So you're just constantly charged with light and getting all of the benefits that comes with that. Guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.